And he's Parkinson's, so he started shaking a lot.
Alright, so
Do you remember me though?
the objective for today. I can analyze a historical speech using the SPACECAT acronym. So we are going to talk about Patrick Henry's speech that everybody should have read and looked at, right? Everybody except for Wolfgang, I guess? Alright, so the purpose of the SPACECAT acronym is for you to be able to break down the speech and analyze the different parts of it, okay? So, for our first example, we're going to use that Patrick Henry speech, and then for the second one, we're going to use the Gettysburg Address that I hope everybody's familiar with. Alright, so the very first thing is, who is the speaker? What do we know about them? Okay, so these aren't designed to have one-word answers. Okay, these are designed for you to tell about as much information as you possibly can. Okay, so who's the speaker?
Patrick Henry.
All right, what do we know about Patrick Henry?
He didn't like Britain.
Did he not like Britain, or did he not like the policies that Britain was
The
imposing?
policies.
Do we know which specific policy he's talking about?
Taxation.
Taxation without representation.
Yep.
All right, so our purpose. What was John Henry trying to accomplish with this speech? What was his point?
That they should be able to represent themselves against Britain.
Absolutely.
Didn't you just want America to be independent from Britain? I mean, that's pretty much what John said. It's just
Yes. So he wanted either that representation for all of the taxes that they're paying to England, or he wants them to become their own separate entity. All right. So who is the audience? Who is he talking to?
the House.
So basically, he's talking to the
Congress.
the men. So he's talking about the men that are in power, right? Were there any women present? Do you think he was talking to women too?
No,
Why not?
because back then women weren't in positions of power.
All right. What's the time and place? What year was this written? Or all right. So when did America become its own nation?
1776.
1777.
Oh.
Some things you'll see 76, and some things you'll see 77. All right. What was happening in the world? What was happening in the world when we were thinking about getting our own independence? What was happening?
Wars.
Britain was attacking us.
Britain was also in a war with who?
French. France, I mean. It's the same thing. They were in a war with France. Because America wanted France to ally with them.
Yep. Yep. So they're fighting France because France wanted to be separate from the English rule as well. So they were already tied up with a war. So how do you think that affected what was happening in America? Like as it relates to his speech. Do we think that it was something that was easy? Do we think that because Britain was pulled in two different directions, is that how we won? Or was it sheer determination? Okay, so exigence. Who knows what exigence means? Exigence is the problem. So exigence is the problem. Okay, so what was the spark or catalyst?
British tax in America.
Mm-hmm. Oh Lord, I can't spell. Alright, so why was Patrick Henry even having this speech? What was the point? Why did he have to have a speech?
To try and make a change.
Alright, so we know that a lot of the people that were there at the time, they didn't buy into any of this. They're like, we are English, we are supporting the crown, that's what it is, right? So he was dealing with people on his side and people that weren't quite on his side. Alright, so now let's go down to our rhetorical choices. So the choices. What does he make about the speech? I want you to, the choices that he makes through this speech. Think about the overall structure, devices, diction, syntax. So what are some of the things that he says in this speech that's used to rally people? Look at your speech.
He uses slavery and freedom quite often. He compares them both, saying that if we don't separate from Britain, we're going to be slaves of them.
Okay, so he was making he was taking it to the extreme, right? So he was picturing the thing that was the worst thing that he could think of, right? Which is, oh, we're all slaves. We know that's not the same thing, right? Alright, let's move up. Alright, so we already talked about our rhetorical appeals, ethos, logos, and pathos. Which one do we think this is in the speech? What is he trying to do?
Actually, it is really, yeah.
But for what? What is he using to try to persuade you? Say what now? So is it logic or is it emotion?
It's both. He uses both.
Which two?
Pathos and logos.
Alright, now last one. What is the speaker author's attitude towards the subject? Is he like completely outraged or is he like, eh?
He's completely outraged.
Completely out. Does he have the same energy throughout?
I think he gets more heated throughout the conversation, throughout the speech.
I feel like he has the same energy.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Anybody else agree that it's the same energy throughout? Or did he like move up to hype everybody up towards the end? So let's look at the last statement that he makes in the speech. What does it say?
The last what?
The last sentence. Yeah, read it.
The last sentence is, besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission.
Okay, so what is he saying?
That wasn't the last sentence, my bad. Olivia had it on the wrong thing. I see where you're trying to get your point, because this part's a little more aggressive, so.
Mhm.
Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or death.
Alright, so he gets angrier as he goes. He's saying, without this, just go and kill me, because I don't need to be here. Now, are there any questions about the SPACECAT organizer? Alright. Alright, so now we're going to talk about our next speech.
He could pass out all the papers from the seat.
Hmm?
He could pass out all the papers from his seat.
Alright, so take a couple minutes and read over the speech. It's a relatively shorter one compared to the Patrick Henry one. Give me a thumbs up when you finish. Just say no.
Miss Jackson, your room is decorated so elegantly and so nice for Christmas.
Thank you, Dylan. Alright, so who is this written by? Or whose speech is this? What we know about him?
It's the 16th president.
He was what?
The 16th president of the United States.
What else?
You're so
What else? Who was he as a person? What they call him?
tall hat.
A slave owner?
I mean, he was that, but
Yeah.
most of them were back then. He had decidedly less than some other people. Does anybody, what was his next great speech, supposedly?
We don't know much about him yet. We haven't learned about it.
Emancipation Proclamation.
We're still about on the beginning of history.
Well, now you know, Emancipation Proclamation where he freed all the slaves.
I don't like that. I should know that.
Huh?
She's just so funny.
Alright, so next is our purpose. Why was he having this speech? What was he trying to do?
He's trying to persuade people that they shouldn't go into a civil war.
No, this was during the Civil War, during the battles of Gettysburg.
Yeah, but like,
It was after
they're
the battles of
engaged, they're like
Gettysburg.
engaged during the Civil War, he wants it to end.
But what is his point? What is he trying to get across? He's saying it's not the dead that are going to consecrate this land. It's going to be us, people who are alive and still fighting. We have to move forward, even if it's stepping over dead bodies, basically. So he is trying to rally the troops. All right, next. Who's he talking to?
The people of America.
Specifically, which people? Was he talking to the women?
No.
No. Who's he talking
The
to?
men of America.
So it's our male soldiers and our key figures. All right, context. When was this?
After the battle.
After the Battle of Gettysburg. Now,
Answer your question.
Ow, he's just setting it.
all right, so what else is happening in the world during this time? During the Civil War, what else was happening? Yeah. Slavery was happening.
Oh my.
Wow.
All right. Exigence. What's our problem? What problem is Abe Lincoln addressing in this speech?
The Battle of Gettysburg.
What about it though?
I can't wait to get my get back even if I get right, trust me.
All right. So during a lot of times, especially during the Civil War, people would just like, nope, can't do this no more. I'm going home, take it to the house. So that means that their forces were doing what? They were getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, this is a little bit off of this speech, but why do you think, or what was the reason for the Emancipation Proclamation? What was the reason? Why did he give that speech? What was the point?
To emancipate and proclamate.
How would that benefit the North?
So they win the war.
They wanted more soldiers. They wanted more soldiers to fight for the cause. That means that they had to weaken the South. So what do you think is going to happen if you pull out all of the working people from a factory? What's going to happen?
The factory's gonna go out of business.
Factory is going to close. You're going to lose all of your power and it's going to be gone. So did he release the slaves
Yeah.
because they were slaves
No.
No.
or because he wanted to use them?
He wanted to use
You want to use them.
He wanted to use
them.
them. So the exigence for the Gettysburg Address is he is trying to, once again, rally the troops. All right, choices. What are our rhetorical choices? Why did he use the language that he chose to use? What was the point? I mean, he starts off, 7 years ago. How many years is that? How many? 87. It's 87 years, so a score is 20. So he's saying almost 100 years. We've been here dealing with this and we gotta win, right?
Did you slide?
I hate a bunch. Oh, shut up. Oh my gosh, you just threw it out.
All right, so he uses the time frame. All right, what's our rhetorical appeal? Anybody disagree?
Perfect.
All right, so tell me why it's tacos.
Because he's trying to get to their emotions and feel like they should fight.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Can I get it?
Yes.
Why do you want to end it? You're supposed to be straight ups.
Alright, so he's working on the emotional side of war, because remember he talked about how these soldiers, they're dying on these battlefields, but he wants us to step over them, right? And keep fighting. How many people are gonna wanna keep fighting after their best friend from life just got his head knocked off by a cannonball?
No.
Not very many people are gonna wanna continue to fight. Okay? So our last one is our tone. Tone. What tone is he giving off for the entire speech? Is he big and boisterous like Patrick Henry, or is he steady and calm?
Steady and calm.
Steady and calm.
He's steady and calm.
Because he didn't really like care about the slaves, so it wasn't like he was emotional about it. He really just cared about the money. So he made a plan and he executed it.
Ooh.
Oh, thank you.
So he wanted to win over more people, but he didn't want to seem like he was going too far. Okay?
Yeah.
Because he's not gonna go to a church with a bunch of women and say, "Sing your sons so they can get murdered on the Civil War on the war front." Nobody says that, right? Do you think you sing your son if they said that?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Alright, so are there any questions about the SPACECAT organizer? Alright, so in Google Classroom there are several speeches that are listed out. I'll put the list on the screen.
And Bill, what's his name?
Miss Jackson, return these in, these papers.
You're gonna turn into one that you do by yourself.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I really appreciate that. Actually, some arms would be
What do you say?
Oh, fine.
What pearl?
Whoa, 20 minutes, 21 minutes.
I do see no pearl.
What's taking my phone doing this?
From Victory Speech.
Alright, so only one person last time I looked signed up for this.
What did you
Oh,
go?
like
So they're all different speeches and they're all about the same limit within around 20 minutes or so, except for this one. This one's a little bit longer. But you pick, which one did you pick, Jade?
Trump, 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 Trump.
I wanted to do the Michelle Obama.
I love going
Can I
to
do the
American
why go to the
Leadership
moon
Academy
one?
because I get to.
So which one?
The moon
Can I
one?
do Hillary Clinton?
Wait, what's the what? Can I do a time for choosing?
Wait, Miss Jackson, is this due by the end of class or can we work on it tonight?
Work on it tonight. It's gonna be for homework.
Yes, ma'am.
It's gonna be for homework.
Why do I get to pick I'll do
So that-
I'll do Tim Waltz.
Oh,
No one even knows who that is.
no.
Alright, so.
Who is it? Who's
I literally just went to YouTube and put in political speeches, and I picked all of them that was in the 20-minute frame. So I tried to get a good mix of a little bit of everybody.
Mine's in a 30-minute brain.
Huh?
Mine's in a 30-minute brain.
Yeah. It got a little more difficult after a few of them. Either they were like 4 minutes or 2 hours.
We should have done the 4-minute one.
No. No, you don't really get the gist of what they're trying to say. So you are going to use the SPACECAT acronym for your speech. Questions about the homework assignment?
Do we get an extra SPACECAT worksheet or do we just do it on that?
Do it on paper.
No.
I'm gonna go ahead and make mine real quick.
It's in Google Classroom if you got a printer at home.
I'll just write it.
Everybody.
Yeah, just make sure that you put the naming convention on it.
Alright, I didn't might get back yet. Read that.
Everybody.
Like, even if I print it out, do I have to put make it like that?
No, just fill out the top.
Okay.